was doing some mission training with them way back when I was single, and then when I got married, my husband and I joined up with them again to go along with one of the traveling teams they had, and anybody can join up with them and take any of their trips with them. So we just did a lot of evangelism throughout the countries, and of course in China being a communist country, we can do outward evangelism, but just a lot of praying and connecting with some of the underground churches there.
Okay, great. So Sherry and Darlene, you went together?
Yes.
We went together in 2008, and it was kind of a challenge because we saw the lady who was going to be taking us, or was going to be leading a Chinese trip to the Hung Feng orphanage, and I said to Darlene, Julie's taking a group to China, and she had just walked past the window, and I said, who was it? I said, I'll go.
I said, do you ever think about going to China? And she said, yeah, kind of crossed my mind. And I said, I'll go if you'll go.
And so
2008, that's pretty recent, and you were working in an orphanage. So maybe you two ladies could describe the orphanage that you worked in, or was it more than one? And I'll start with Sherry.
It was just one orphanage. It was a very large orphanage, and there were 30 babies in six different rooms, and their nannies lived in the rooms, and we just most of the time we just held babies. It was wonderful.
And describe a little bit of the conditions.
Okay, well, to start with, Sherry and I were the oldest, and we were the only two grandmas there, so we had special privileges, I think. The orphanage was very clean, well kept. The nannies were a little bit leery of us at first because they've never had any outside help before our group. They've had several times since then, but we were the first group to give them any outside help. And it took a few hours, but after a couple hours, then they were turning the babies over to us and letting us feed them, and even taking them out into the courtyard. Like I said, it was very clean. You could just see the love the nannies had for the babies. And we were surprised that we figured they'd be like in their 30s, but they were all grandparents too, I think. And
Chinese nationality?
And a couple of them, three of the rooms, they all had like 6 babies in each room, and they ranged anywhere from 3 days to like 11 months was the oldest. And 3 of the rooms had husband and wife nannies, so it was a lot different than what we had anticipated.
Yes.
They were very open to us and very kind.
Who ran the orphanage?
Actually, they had a director, but I think it was government-based. Don't you think,
yes,
Sherry?
It was run by the city of Hung Feng because they recognized us when we were done, had a reception for us afterwards.
And it was a small village of 200,000 people.
That's
small.
That's what they called it.
Were there mostly boy babies, girl babies,
all
a
girls.
Mixture? All girls?
2 boys.
Why all girls and only 2 boys?
Well, mostly if they have a one child per family, they prefer to keep the boys because they help with the later on, I guess, with the parents and stuff. So mostly they were all girls. The one boy, he had a slight deformation in his hands. That's why we figured he was there. And the other one, Charlie, which we all fell in love with, he just, his parents could not take care of him, and so they left him there.
Why did you decide to go?
Well, I love babies and being an orphanage. And then I was intrigued too. I thought, wow, it would be great to see the Great Wall of China, so that was kind of a side effect.
And was it worth it?
Yes, it was. It was. But the best thing I got out of it was to realize that people are people, God's people everywhere, and they live and breathe and eat and sleep and love just the way we do. And it was so great to think that people clear on the other side of the world are just like us, and it kind of shrinks the world, brings it closer together.
We had a very good period of preparation before we went, and Julie, who is a very dedicated young lady, was just very helpful in explaining many things because she had been to China for a couple of trips before we went, and she just had us understanding that we needed to open up and let the Chinese people just into our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very effective way to feel good.
You know, we can go with our Western ideas and think that we're going to go and we're going to, you know, change something about the places that we're going. And what usually happens in all the places that I've traveled in different countries in the world, it's usually me that comes back and is changed or realizes that, you know, that like Darlene said, you know, there's something to gain from people wherever we go, and people really are, there's similarities wherever we go, but it's usually God that ends up showing me something about myself wherever I go. And you know, I went with an idea, you know, when we were adopting Abby, I thought that you know, these girls, you know, how could these Chinese people just give up these, you know, babies and things like that? And you begin to think harshly, and really, you know, we went and we realized how much they're loved. And the nannies that, like, they experienced in the orphanage, we got to go back and visit Abby's orphanage a few days after we picked her up and saw how hard these nannies work and how much they love these babies tremendously, but there's just not enough nannies to take care of them. So there's something to gain from all the places that we go.
As we conclude our series entitled Footprints of China in the Miami Valley, you might ask, why did Edison choose China? After 4 tours in the past 6 years to Western Europe, Edison has made this decision in part based on the following. China is the world's longest continuous civilization, more than 4,000 years. With that firm place in the world's history, China has amazing cultural artifacts that visitors can study and use to gain a sense of that antiquity. Couple the past with China's rapid expansion into this century, and you have an economic, political, and military powerhouse. With a large part of the world's population, China merits our attention as we enlarge our sense as citizens of the world. Whether your interest is in walking on the Great Wall of China, visiting Tiananmen Square, spending time at the Shanghai World Financial Center, or viewing the terracotta soldiers and horses, find out more about the tour by going to the Edison website and following the links. One of China's most famous poets, Du Fu, expressed the idea of travel well in 761.
后游，肆意曾
I
游
remember
处
the temple. This route I've traveled before.
桥
I
影
recall the
在
bridge as I
路
cross it
时
again.
江山
It seems the
如
hills
有
and
待
rivers have been waiting.
花柳
The
更
flowers and
无
willows
私
all are selfless now.
叶润
The
烟
field is
光
sleek
薄
and vivid. Thin mist
沙
shines on
宣
soft
日色
sand.
迟
The sunlight's color shows it's late.
可愁
All
尘
the
微
traveler's
起
sorrow fades away.
舍此
What
复
better
何
place to
之
rest than this? We hope you've enjoyed our preview of China. We think you will have a marvelous time touring Beijing, Shanghai, and Xi'an with Edison travelers.